Village Live!
Welcome to ivillage Live from Universal Orlando Resort. Well, drinking, hanging out with the wrong crowd, and promiscuous habits, these are the bad behaviors parents dread their teens will pick up, and they are front and center.
In fact, the National Institute on Drug Abuse says 70% of American teenagers drink alcohol, and every day, nearly 3,000 kids under 18 become regular smokers.
We hit the streets to find out what scares you about your teen. Take a look at this.
Raising teenagers today, the thing that I fear most would be their safety, and then teenage pregnancy.
She's got all these experiences to experience as she gets older, but she thinks she already knows everything.
Their lack of perspective of their future.
They tell you that they know it all, but they really don't.
Sounds familiar. Well, if you're too afraid of your teenage behaviors to parent them properly, family therapist and author of the book Screamfree Parenting, Hal Runkel, is here to help.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
As always, Hal, we absolutely love having you here. This is the thing that, and I have, you know, we've talked about this. I have two stepsons, 14 and 18, and I mean, they are great now, but how do you deal with something if one of them, the younger, let's say, showed up suddenly, you know, in a completely goth outfit, he's cutting himself. I mean, how do you keep yourself from going crazy, from being completely scared?
You make that your #1 priority. You have to set aside your desire, this need to rip off all the tattoos and the earrings and stuff. You have to set all that aside and just stay calm and think, okay, if he's doing this all of a sudden, then he's probably trying to send some sort of message to me. And what I don't want to do is send to him a message that automatically I'm going to freak out.
And that you're going to suddenly give them a lot of attention.
Yes, and then suddenly now, you know what, I'm going to pounce on you. Because all that's going to do is lead him to rebel against you and make him even more strident against any changes you want to make. I have to stay calm, no matter what.
Interesting you say that, Hal, about that you rebel against what you're not permitted to do. Because I really feel like as a teenager that my parents gave me a lot of room to exercise my own responsibility and frankly to make my own mistakes. So I
learn from them.
Yeah, you do learn from them. But I did some of those things that, you know, when we were talking earlier about kids picking up, for example, smoking. Tried smoking, gave it up quickly, but we would have parties in our house and do all those sort of things that would cause parents angst. But in the end, frankly, because they gave me the responsibility, I felt that it caused me to exercise at least some restraint and not go too wild.
Here's the problem with the way most of us parent our teenagers. We expect them to act like adults and yet still treat them like kids.
I think I know I do that.
Right.
I have, you know, again, the two stepsons, and I just think that I would have a hard time being like your mom and dad. I mean, my thought is like the minute something like this would happen, my instinct would be like, we're going to move, we're going to do this, some dramatic thing.
I'm never going to let you see him again.
I'm never going to let you see those friends. We're going to go live in a cabin in Montana because I owe it to you to save your life.
Because my #1 priority, I think, as a parent, is to keep you safe.
Yes.
And that's not my #1 job.
Well, what is?
My #1 job is to help introduce you to life.
Okay.
That's my #1 job. And that means opening you up to the choices in life and the consequences of those lives. So it's my job to keep my cool. This is not anxiety-free parenting. I'll be anxiety-free when I'm dead. Right? I'll still be worried about my kids. But it is scream-free parenting in that I don't have to act just as melodramatic and crazy as they are.
What about peer pressure, Hal? Because to be honest, I tried smoking as a teen because somebody said, hey, it's cool.
And that's the only reason people try smoking as a kid. You know, it's not like, you know what, of all the options out there, I really want to inhale smoke into my lungs. That's cool, some cool guy. Yeah, it's disgusting, you know, it's like kissing an ashtray, whatever. But it's cool, some kids are doing it. Peer pressure is incredibly powerful.
How do you resist that or teach your teen to resist that?
Yeah, well, you don't tell them what to do all the time. So many times I hear, well, I'm afraid my kid's a follower, he's going to be susceptible to peer pressure. And why are you telling him to do what to do all the time? He's just going to look for somebody else to tell him what to do. No, I want them to begin to think on their own about their choices.
But can't we, I mean, smoking is a great example. I mean, can't we start practicing with them? I know you talk about practicing saying no, but can't I start practicing with my daughter now? I mean, with our 5-year-old, and we did this with the boys who have never smoked, we just started right in on saying, it's bad for you, you will get cancer, you will die, let's talk about
We can educate, absolutely. You know. But can I control whether behind the store or at somebody else's house, can I absolutely control whether or not they choose that? No. So where do I want to be if they do? Do I want to be the last person they would ever talk to about that because they're so afraid that I'm going to flip out? Or do I want to be the first person they would talk to? because they know that I'm going to be calm, that I'm going to be rational, that I'm going to help talk with them through that, rather than talk to them about the dangers because you need to. No, that eliminates myself as a resource. They're not going to come to me because they're going to be afraid of me, and that's not what I want.
Now, earlier, Molly, you mentioned the example of, say, what if my teenage son comes home and he's cutting himself, for example?
Yes.
What about when things step over that line from behavior that's just kids experimenting to, not sure
we're losing some furniture to the wind.
Exactly. To actually dangerous behavior.
Let me just read you an email from one of our viewers. This is from Perplexed in Philly, and she says, I'm a single mum of a 13-year-old girl. She says she's acting out because my boyfriend and I aren't paying as much attention to her as we used to. In the past month, she has been picked up by the police for truancy, stolen my father's credit card and used it to buy things online, and she's also got suspended for wearing the wrong uniform to school. Plus, she's failing 8th grade. I mean, this is fairly worrying behavior, isn't it?
My question to her would be, does she have your attention now? Because that's what she said.
She's acting out for attention.
That's what she said, she was acting out for attention. Does she have it now? Sounds like she might. Sounds like she might. It sounds like, you know, it's a very, very difficult situation, but I don't want my kids to have to work that hard to get me to notice. I also don't want them to have to know all the very things that would absolutely drive me crazy. So often we hand our kids our remote control and then wonder why they're pushing all our buttons.
Oh, that's wild. So,
Yeah.
so you're saying that we let them know every day what makes us crazy.
The one thing I can't handle is for you to lie to me. That's why they're going to lie to you, because it's the one thing they know you can't handle.
I just had like the huge light bulb explosion go, that's major.
Because you think about it, every kid does something, your kids do something they know drives you crazy, right?
Absolutely.
So why do they continue to do it? Well, either they're just pure evil, or it's because it drives you crazy. And they are testing us, constantly testing us. Constantly testing us. We get to a place where it doesn't drive us crazy anymore. We get to a place to rise above it.
Now, is that through respect? Because, for example, Diane55 in our chat room is saying, we learn to respect our teens and they respected us in return.
You think about it, parenting-child relationships has to be based on respect. But so often we think, well, that's them extending us respect, the respect that we deserve because we make the money and blah, blah, blah. No, I extend them respect first. So simple things like knocking on my daughter's door, not assuming I can barge in. Right. You know, simple little things that convey to you, I view you as a separate individual from me. Now, that doesn't mean I don't have authority over you, but it's not something I'm going to lord over you because I think out of my fear I have to control you at all times. That's not my job.
This is great stuff. Will you stay with us for the next block and talk to us how we can tell us how to talk to our teenagers?
Sure.
All right.
I'll tell you how to talk with your teenagers. Big difference.
All right.
Yeah, that's
We're learning here. It's learning and learning.
Absolutely. All right, well, stick around because coming up next, Hal gives his takeaway tips for how to talk to your troubled teen. You are watching iVillage Live.